So we've just completed our initial exam here for Donald Duck. We got a bunch of treatment in there, and now it's time to make financial arrangements with Donald. All right, so Donald, you need to have $3,500 worth of treatment. Your insurance, we estimate, is going to pay about $2,200, so your portion is $1,207. Let's go ahead and schedule. And what's Donald says? Oh, well, I don't have any money. Well, it didn't tell me it's going to be that much. So now what are you going to do? Okay, well, you can just holler down the hall at the doctor and say, hey, Donald Duck says that your fees are too high and he doesn't have any money. What do you want to do? Well, once the HIPAA police let you out of jail, then you can deal with the fact that that's not exactly a practice builder. So probably don't want to do that. But if you weren't in the room when Donald had the exam, but even perhaps if you were, we need a little help here. We need some fallback position. Donald can't afford all the treatment, so what are we going to do? So what I want to show you how to do very quickly is set some priorities and also how to use planned appointments. They're similar, but they're different. Really important when you're talking to Donald during the exam that you understand what his chief complaint was. Why did Donald come in here today? And in this case, we'll pretend that Donald says he's got some broken fillings on the upper right that he's concerned about. So that's Donald's chief complaint, and that's where I would start as far as priorities are concerned. When we get to planned appointments, that may be a little bit different. So I'm going to put the two fillings on the upper right high up on my priority list. The first thing on here, though, is going to be what we did today. So priority one is always what we've already done, because we don't want to have to come back to Donald and say, oh yeah, I forgot to tell you about the prophy and so forth. So let's highlight these guys, all three of them, just drag the mouse over them, and go over, and here's where you set the priority. I'm going to say that's priority one. These two guys are going to be priority two. And the extraction is not bothering him, so maybe for right now, we'll just skip that. And we'll say, okay, that crown down on his lower left, that's pretty bad shape. So this is going to be priority 3. Okay, I'm setting some priorities for Donald based on the worst first. And so you get some idea. You can go in here and say, okay, this will make this priority 4. Let's make these guys priority 5. Whatever is appropriate. Okay, we're kind of doing a worst first at this point. But we started with what Donald was primarily concerned about. Okay, so now we can come back and we'll do these crowns and cementation here. Okay, so now we got all our treatment in there and prioritized. Now, when you present the treatment to Donald in this situation and say, okay, it's still the same price, it's $34.59, and Donald says, no, I don't have $1,200, you have a fallback position. You can say, okay, Donald, you know, you were primarily concerned about those two fillings on your upper right. How about if we just start with those? Can you afford $88? And Donald says, yeah, I can afford $88. So there's your fallback position based on the priorities. Now, ideally, Donald wants to do all the treatment. But you know that doesn't always happen. If he can't afford it, deal with what he can afford. Use your priorities as your fallback positions. All right, now I think this is something that should be set by the doctor and the chairside during the exam appointment. This is very fast, takes 1 minute maybe, and will make everybody's life easier. So from now on, everybody in the office knows what the priorities are for the treatment. Okay, how about planned appointments? What's the difference between a planned appointment and a priority? A planned appointment is the order in which I want to do things. I, the doctor, want to do things. And this is a negotiation back and forth with the chairside and the doctor, again, during the exam. So the chairside says, okay, doctor, what do you want to do next? Okay, I want to do a whole bunch of treatment next. Okay, so I'm going to go to my planned appointment tab right up here. And I've set some planned treatment right in here. I can look at them already. Okay, so this is what I want to do first, and this is how long it's going to take. Okay, I ain't got control of this. And the chair says, I don't think you're that fast, doctor. I'm going to put some more time in down here. Okay, so again, this is a negotiation, but you set up the first appointment, how long it's going to be, and the procedures that you're going to do. Okay, ideally. Okay, here's your second appointment, same thing, and you can have as many appointments in there as you want. You can change the order. You say, no what, I think I want to do this one first, and so I can move it up. No problem. So you're setting the appointments up so that the doctor and the chair side have control over what's going to go into that appointment, what procedures are going to be done, and how long that appointment should take. And don't forget to date stamp it and put your initials down there too. Okay, so this would be my ideal way to do the treatment for Donald. But again, now Donald says, I don't have any money. So in that case, the planned appointment may kind of go out the window. And remember, we decided we're going to do those 2 fillings. He could afford that. And so now I can come back and do another planned appointment for just those 2 fillings. So let's add a planned appointment. This is going to be our fallback position. And those were those 2 composites. Okay, now, person, if this is not the chair side doing this, they may not know how much time to put in there with the doctor. That's the advantage of having the chair side do the financial arrangements. Okay, but so now we've got a new planned appointment that we added in there. And we're going to put this up at the top because this is all that Donald can afford. All right, so there's a difference between the priorities and the way you'd actually like to do the appointments in an ideal world. That's the difference between a priority and a planned appointment. So take a few minutes during the exam, at the end of the exam, to set some priorities and to create some planned appointments, because it's going to make everybody else's life a whole lot easier, and it's going to be a lot more likely that you're going to schedule some treatment for Donald rather than just have him walk out the door because he can't afford anything. So take 1 minute at the end of your exam to organize your treatment and improve your case acceptance.